This is WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM. And we have with us at WZRD Darryl Mitchell. He is a filmmaker slash producer, and he has made a documentary and slash thriller about the eclipse. How are you, Darryl? Welcome to WZRD.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm great, great to be here.
Could you let's see the levels. Okay, Daryl, could you tell us a little bit more about what's the title of your film?
The Dark Total Eclipse.
Okay, The Dark Total Eclipse. And is it more of a documentary or is it more of a thriller?
It's more of a thriller.
Mm-hmm. And how did you start working on this? And how long did it take you?
I started back in 2017 when we had the first solar eclipse. That was the inspiration for the total eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
So it took a total of 16 months from start to completion. The movie was initially slated for a release in the spring of 2020, but COVID happened and it put the project on hold because of the last eclipse that gave us a little more inspiration to pick up where we left off before. So we got some traction on that, and pretty much it landed me where I'm at now currently.
Mm-hmm. And how did you come to make films? What inspired you? I know that there was the eclipse, but have you done films before? How does the project come about?
Well, as a matter of fact, I've been making films since the age of 12. I got my early practices teaching in elementary school, Mason School, more specifically, and Farragut Career Academy. So I've been making films for a while now. So,
Okay.
So it's been a while.
What other films have you made so that are they available for our listeners to view?
Absolutely. The Creature of Thatcher's Wood, which is a horror film. Another film, I Am, which is more of a documentary trying to educate people more about mental health issues. And there's a host of others that I can't think of at the top of my head, but I've been at this for a while now.
Does it require a budget? How did you learn filmmaking?
Oh gosh, that's a long story. But I learned writing and producing at Mason School, again, elementary school, which was my first, I guess you could say, my first run at learning to make films, and it took hold of me from then on, and I've been making films since then.
Elementary school, you're saying?
Started there and went on to high school.
Hang on, let's move this back up there. And yeah, just stay there. Okay, awesome. Okay. And elementary school, when I was in elementary school, nobody taught me to make films, but how were you so lucky that you were able to learn filmmaking at an elementary school level?
Well, one of the things about the school where I was, if they were trying to keep us, I guess you could say, us students out of trouble, so to speak, it was more from the class where I was at. It was just an extra curriculum that they offered to the people in the community that were not able to afford formal training.
Mhm.
That's really cool. I remember I was in high school. I was in the video club. I was in the video club, and we got the big camera and the big tripod, and then we had the big tapes back then. And then we had like a studio. We had a room in the library that we got to edit our videos, and they taught us how to do it. And they lent us the camera to go out in the field and do whatever we wanted. So I think that's a great part of education, extracurricular, and it really brought you up, didn't it?
It did. Originally, if I could back up a little, originally I'm from Los Angeles. I've been here since age of 2. And I thought to myself, wow, this is unique. The experiences obviously are different in LA and New York. One of the things I've noticed, there's a lot of hands-on training out there in LA versus Chicago. And I would like to bring some of those trainings here, because one of the things that a common thing that I heard at the meet and greet that took place for my film back on April the 8th was people asked me over and over was how can they get involved with the film industry. And I said to myself, wow, this is interesting. I live in Oak Park, Austin, which is the border of Oak Park. And I thought to myself, if the mayor of Chicago was here to witness this himself. So some of the things I've heard the mayor say, trying to tie all this together, I thought to myself, if the mayor was here to witness this, this is that demographic that the mayor has not been able to reach, so to speak, to help him reach his goals, to how he would like to see Chicago shaped up to be. I said to myself, how can I reach the mayor to propose to him? What I can do is reach out to the sources that I have in LA to transfer them, to bring them to Chicago, to teach people how to make films, to teach them about the industry, how to get in the industry.
That's really wonderful. And you know, a history of film in Chicago. The original Hollywood came from Hollywood here, came from Hollywood Boulevard here in Edgewater. And Charlie Chaplin was here. The reason why they moved to LA is because of the weather. They could only film so much, and then they had to take a break, and that wasn't going to do it for them. They had to keep the films rolling. So I think that if we bring back that connection, I think it'd be a wonderful thing to present to the mayor.
Hopefully the mayor's out there. Hopefully someone's listening.
He may be listening.
So that's one of the things I thought was, could be an additional bonus to training the people in Chicago, because there's a high demand for it, but it's how can you implement something like that? It takes more than just one person, such as myself, to do something.
It certainly does.
That magnitude.
So when you were learning filmmaking in elementary school, that was in LA?
No, that was here in Chicago.
It was in Chicago.
Yes.
Okay, then do you know more about that program? What school again was it?
Mason Roswell B. Mason, which has been this month. COVID definitely, COVID put the brakes on a lot of things, so to speak. So it's defunct at this point.
And what neighborhood was that school?
On the west side, they call it the K-Town area, which is Austin. It's Kildare. It's in that area.
In the case.
In the case.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah, we know about the case.
We know about the L's and the K's and the M's.
Yes. And Oak Park is near there, right? Is that how you ended up living in Oak Park?
Yes. Yes, exactly. Oak Park is a very diverse. It has more resources than Austin itself. Speaking of that, my film, The Dark Total Eclipse, was featured at the Oak Park Theater. Yes, we made some buzz. We picked up where we left off earlier, because we initially shot this movie back in 2017, but COVID happened and it pushed everything to the side. So because of the latest eclipse, we picked up where we left off, and it was like, hey, we got to go with this now, because the eclipse, it gives us that leg up, so to speak. So we picked up where we left off, and the information got into the ears and the eyes of the Oak Park Theater, and pretty much it was a go from then on. So
we've got the voice here.
yes, this is people did the article on me, so this is how the Oak Park Theater came across myself.
Oh, wonderful. Could you read a blurb?
Yes, if you,
Yeah, go ahead. This one? Over
yes,
here?
this is all of it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Trudy.
All right, let's see.
I'll start.
Independent film screening. Upcoming film producer Darryl Mitchell takes us back to the silent era of Hollywood with his psychological horror film, The Dark Total Eclipse. And then Darryl Mitchell's award-winning sci-fi horror motion picture is being presented at a free screening on Monday, April 8th at 6 p.m. at the Lake Theater in Oak Park. No tickets or prior reservations are required. So how was that? If I had known about it, I would have gone if I had time.
The Lake Theater is a big deal in Oak Park. It's a big deal. It's right in that commercial business district. It's a real big deal. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. And so there's it's a silent film. I saw that it is in color, but it's silent.
It's a little both. It's silent and it has monologue too. So it's mostly on the monologue side, but there's silence involved with it too, because trying to pay homage to the golden years of Hollywood. So it's a combination.
Did you film it yourself, or do you have a crew?
I filmed it with the group. As a matter of fact, speaking about LA, a lot of the cast and crew were people that were imported from LA that are in this movie. My next project, I would like to offer those roles to the locals, so to speak. So my next film is called Funny Bones, which is a comedy,
Yeah.
a comedy film. I would like to I'm gonna announce an audition for roles, and that'll come basically as a sitcom. So I'm gonna be offering auditions for that as opposed to importing cast and crews like I did with the prior movies.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Tell us, so your prior films, are our listeners able to find them, to check them out?
Yes, they can go to contact me, Darryl Mitchell 2016 at yahoo.com, and I'll forward that information to them.
Okay. And your current film, uh, the the Dark Total Eclipse, where could we see that?
There's a link. I'll be able to give you that information too, as well as if someone is interested, they can contact me.
Okay, yes. When we publish this interview, we will include that in the description for the interview. Would that be okay?
Yes, sure, absolutely, for sure.
And so how many people did you require to film it? And then could you talk a little bit about your budget? It's fascinating talking with an independent filmmaker.
This movie was shot on a $43,000 budget,
Mhm.
which is cheap. I financed it all myself, which is not an easy task. It's heavy lifting, heavy lifting. One of the things I can say about this movie, in the screening that took place back on April the 8th, there was an executive that was in attendance there. I'm not sure if I should mention the company where this executive is from.
You could, if you want to.
Yeah, go ahead.
TriStar Pictures. His name is Theodore.
Okay.
Mhm.
He's the gentleman that gave me his card. He was in attendance for the screening of my movie, The Dark Total Eclipse, back on April the 8th. He announced it during the meet and greet. I thought, who is this person? But he pulled out his card. He says, hey, maybe we could talk. I said, wow, okay, great. So I'm going to need their help, long story short, when it comes to financing my upcoming projects, because like $43,000 is not a lot, but it's for an independent producer. It's a heavy lift. It's a lot. It's a load.
Mhm.
Yes.
So is there any way that you could make some of that money back? How are you going to distribute the film so that it'll be you could make a living off of what you want to do?
Yeah, I'm talking. Well, right now I'm in negotiating with talking to the Oak Park Theater to see if we can come up with possibly trying to make back up that money, monetize it, so to speak. Because this meet and greet was more of a free screening. So the next will be not a huge chart, but a small.
A little something.
Yeah, a little something.
And how again did the Oak Park how did the Lake Theater find you again?
They through the paper here. They read this article, which is down on me, and they saw all this information here.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Let's see. New young filmmaker and Austin resident Darryl Mitchell, who won awards at last year's Oak Park Film Festival for Best Director, Writing and Production for his science fiction movie, The Dark Total Eclipse, is hosting a free screening of the film on Monday, April 8th, 6 p.m. at the Lake Street, the Lake Theater, and then Darryl Mitchell wrote and produced the film. In addition to his talents as a filmmaker, Mitchell is a gifted musician and singer and also designs clothes. He recently signed on as a contributing writer for The Voice newspapers. His music can be heard on WZRD Radio Evanston and WLTL Radio in LaGrange, where he is a popular interview guest. Persons attending the free screening on April 8th will have the opportunity to meet Darryl in person. So, okay, they might have had but that's okay.
WZRD is Chicago is
Yes.
at Northeastern Illinois University, but
It's
that's okay.
okay.
It's a great article.
Yes. And okay, so but then how did they find you? Did you submit your work to them? Did you introduce yourself to the editorial staff? How did word get out about you?
Definitely submission, submission, legwork, flyers, posters, the hard work that goes into something such as that magnitude. So it was definitely, I initiated the contact with them, and they pretty much picked up the ball and ran with it from then on. They got interested in it. Since Darryl, could you submit your work to us, and we'll go over it and see if we like it, and if it's a good fit for the theater, we can take it from there. So great. They pretty much everything else, as they say, was history from then on.
Mhm. Great. And then what about the Voice newspaper? Did you approach them as well?
Oh, yeah, as a matter of fact, they were one of the first supporters. So
Mhm.
big shout out to them. They were really supportive. I initially contacted them, and they were very supportive.
Mhm. And did you work with the Illinois Film Office?
No, I didn't. No,
Chicago Film Office, I think there might be one.
I heard of them, but I've never worked with them.
Mhm. And your graphics are really, I see the trailer and and is that representative of the entire film? Because it looks really, it looks really professional.
Well, thank you. The movie was shot in several different communities: Oak Park, River Forest, North Riverside, Melrose Park. So it was shot in a host of different locations in the Chicagoland area. So that was a heavy lift in itself. One of the things this movie taught me, my experience that I learned from this movie was I had to get a permit to use properties, which I didn't know up until this movie.
So to acquire these permits to film at properties, did you have to go to each village
Yes.
to get individual ones?
Yes.
From the villages you chose, and you had to let them know what the property was, and did you have to pay a fee?
Yes, I did. Yes. Oak Park, you think they would have been more supportive. Initially, they were, I wouldn't say that they were against it, but they were more had a little skepticism, so to speak, because of obviously Oak Park is not known for filmmakers. They didn't know what entails, what the process of it would look like. So I had to convince them there's no explosions.
Mhm. You had to go to, you had to convince the city hall
The City Hall of Oak Park.
of Oak Park.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And was it did you have to pay a lot? What was the most expensive part of that $43,000 dollar budget?
Oh, well, paying the crew, cast, renting different props. So that was the most expensive of it.
So there's lighting involved,
Yes.
then there's the scripts,
Yes.
there's the crew, then there's the
cast,
actors, then there's
yes.
the permits,
Mhm.
and then editing, producing the movie.
Yes, exactly. So you have a lot of experience. I could take it from.
There's a lot, there's a
yes.
lot involved.
Yes.
And do you own the equipment, or did you rent the equipment?
I rented. I wish I could say I own it, but I rented the equipment.
Mhm.
Mhm. And where did you learn to operate the equipment?
There was, and maybe hopefully I can say this, with some students at Columbia College.
Sure, you can say it.
They
Yeah.
volunteered to some degree to operate the equipment, because the budget was not big enough to pay everyone, aside from the cast, the crew, and it was just, but fortunately they loaned me their time. So big shout out.
And Columbia is known for their film department. That's why you chose
Yeah.
students from Columbia.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I wonder it looks really sharp. So were they working as interns for your project?
More volunteer, but I guess you could say intern, because some of them, that experience was new to them as well, although they were familiar with filmmaking, but not to that degree. So some of them, they participated to a certain degree they did. So I guess you could say the word interns, if I could use that term in that sense.
And what about the script? Did you write the entire script?
Yes, I wrote the entire script. Mhm.
How long did it take you? And it was the eclipse in 2017 that inspired you?
Yeah, exactly. So it took me, I want to say, if my mind serves me correctly, between 6 to 8 months to have written that script there for the movie.
So how, I know that there's an equation somewhere where how many pages of the script equals how long the movie is. How many pages is there to the script, and how long is the movie?
The movie is, let me start with the first of the question there. The page is a 45-page script,
Mhm.
which is not a lot. The film is an hour and 15 minutes. It's a feature.
Because some of your movie is silent.
It's just silent and it had some monologue to it. So it's a combination, but it's silence there for sure too.
Mm. And that is rare, right? That you kind of you're venturing into the, areas that are not frequented much with monologues and silence in a feature film.
So again, it was a huge undertaking. I think that's what separates me from I guess you could say, independent filmmakers at this point, because I have my own little niche carved out, so to speak. So that made me still out, kind of gave me that little heads up, so to speak. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Oak Park Theater gave me that little extra, I guess you could say, look or glance, so to speak. So that played a part in in regards to them saying, "Hey, listen, this guy, he has something. Let's take a second look at this guy."
How did you find your niche? What inspired you?
One of Hollywood, going back to its golden years, I've always been fascinated by that. You know, you mentioned one of the earlier actors, Charlie Chaplin. You know, the golden era, the black and white silence. So that really, I was always intrigued by the earlier years of Hollywood. Not to take away from today's, I mean, it's advancement, because definitely there's room for both, in my opinion. So I thought to myself, how can I incorporate both the past and the present?
Well, what about Nosferatu, the silent film? Was that in any had any influence on your project?
Yes, 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 definitely. Horror, I am a horror. Horror is my number one genre of filming. Love comedy, love some drama, but horror is it's right at the top of it's at the top of my list there.
So
So
some Bela Lugosi,
yes, 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 definitely for sure. You nailed it.
Boris Karloff.
Yes, Lon Chaney. Yes, yes, some of the greats.
And what other films inspired you? Even like for so now we know the past films that inspired you. Are there any current films, not well, like in more modern, like the past 2 to 3 decades that you feel are that you would try to emulate?
Wes Craven, he's definitely more modern, if you will. Wes Craven, John Carpenter, he's another one. Um, Clive Barker. So it's like, yeah, I could see, I just could, yeah, it's just all over the place where I can take bits and pieces that can really help me learn even further from the past and to the more updated modern, if I can say that, producers.
If we're talking about Wes Craven, we're talking about Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Now, Freddy Krueger has got a lot of gore. He's got violence. It's got some humor. It's interesting. How do you feel about those aspects?
Yeah, I guess it comes down to the vision that the producer has. For myself, I think there's a limit on how much gore I would put in my films. I think some of it is not to take away from the people that inspired me, but for me, I think some of it needs to be tailored, tampered down, because I want to make my films more family oriented, where mom, dad, the kids, all of them can enjoy it, but get a good scare out of it, but not to go overboard with the gore and just go overboard with the blood and the guts. It's not, again, not to take away from my icons, but for me, I
It's
think
not your style.
yeah.
Yeah, it's in other words, you don't want gratuitous violence, but you do want your audience to think.
Yeah, to give them some intriguing thoughts, like, hey, could this really be? You know, to leave them with that question in their minds of what is the possibilities out there?
What if?
Yeah, what if? Yes, are we really truly alone?
Uh, when you submitted your film to the Oak Park Film Festival, did you also submit to other film festivals? And are there any horror film festivals out there?
Well, I didn't coming out of the clutches of COVID. That took a lot out of me. So I thought to myself, I'm going to start local, which was in Oak Park, and I thought, well, maybe should I branch out if I don't get the response that I'm looking for? Fortunately, the Oak Park Theater, they reached out to me, so I think that kind of tampered my appetite down, so to speak, in regard to reaching out to others. So I thought, well, maybe this is okay. It's a good start. So so I kind of stopped put the pause on it right there as far as reaching out to others beyond the Oak Park Theater at that point.
Is there a lot of red tape in getting your work shown through the Oak Park Film Festival?
It is, it's rigorous. It's not an easy job. You know, I would tell anyone, please, you know, do your homework. Don't, wish someone would have told me that years ago. It's do your homework. It's a lot of red tape. It's a lot of red tape.
Does the red tape take the fun away sometimes?
It does subtract from creativity. It does. You have to have a strong will to stay focused because the red tape can, and sadly to say, but in some instances, it has dissuaded people from pursuing their passion from filmmaking because of the red tape. So you have to really have a strong, keen sense of, hey, listen, I'm not going to let anything distract me or anything. But it does, yeah. It kind of, I guess you could say, dampened it just slightly, but not much.
And as a filmmaker, what do you think about the new media? What do you think about YouTube and the YouTube creators?
Well, yeah, it's a necessity. One of the things about social media, if I can, YouTubers, definitely is a place for it. Doing things, trying to get movies distributed through your standard media, that's a struggle as well. So social media is definitely it's a necessity. It has opened up the gateways to aspiring producers, film writers. It gives them a platform to get their work out there, as opposed to going through the gatekeepers, the major standard formal media.
And where it may not be accepted, it may be rejected, it may never see the light of day.
This is true. Yes, absolutely true.
What's the inspiration for your Zan Studios?
That's a long story. Long story. That's a long story. I'm not for sure if I have enough time to go into that. Zan, that's
Briefly, yeah, because I think it sheds a little light on your creative process.
Zan, you know, that's my baby. That's really my baby. It was the first, I guess you could say, my oldest out of the door. Gave me the platform to go beyond asking others to say, you know, in other words, to submit my work to other studios. I says, listen, I have some finances. I could do some work on my own without asking others to pitch in to help me. So sitting around the round table, brainstorming, I was like, you know, what would be a good name for the studio? And I said, it has to have something that fits my persona, so to speak, you know, my vision. So I was like, oh, although it sounds simple, that was a little task, you know, trying to come up with that, but that's my baby. So that's how that was formulated.
And Suzanne from Horizon?
They're like, what, I'm sorry.
Is it Zan from Horizon?
No,
Okay.
no separate entity.
Okay, yeah, because I see that you're interested in the eclipse, and it would be that far of a stretch to be interested in the horizon also.
I wish I could say, but no, it's separate.
Okay, and so is the studio part of your business to you know, your film is under your studio?
It is. I'm one of the things, again, going back to the red tape piece that you mentioned there, sort of, thank you for that, is being able to distribute my own work. It definitely cuts through some of the red tape. But there's another layer to that. At this point, I still have to go through the movers and shakers out there in LA. My studio's pretty much a small company. It's not where I want it to be. It's not where it was, but thankfully it's not where it was, but it's not where I want to be either. So I still have to reach out to others to get that distribution there. So it's still some red tape, more red tape that I have to cut through to get to that point.
And are you still learning about the distribution, or how much do you know about it?
That's something new. That's a totally new endeavor for myself. Distribution is one thing about producing and directing and all of that stuff, but distribution, that's a whole different realm for me. So that's new to me.
So besides producing and distribution, is there anything else?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, I'm a musician, singer-songwriter. I have some new music that will be released late May. So that's on the horizon. As a matter of fact, that's something I'm looking forward to, and I'm excited about releasing the music late May. And yeah, and also, as I mentioned earlier, my next filming project is Funny Bones, which will be shot totally in Chicago. So again, I'm going to put out an additional audition
Call.
for the audition call for, thank
Mm-hmm.
you, audition call for the roles that I need to have filled for that movie there.
Well, please keep us informed on your new music, your new album, I think it is, or
Mhm.
songs, collection of songs, and also for your auditions
Yes.
for Funny Bones.
Most
We were very interested to see how this progresses, and very thankful that you're giving people in Chicago the opportunity.
So later, that link that you give us, are we able to view your whole film or just like a little bit more than the trailer?
The entire film.
Oh,
Yes, the entire film from start to finish.
oh, okay. All right, Darryl Mitchell, a filmmaker and soon to be musician as well. And thank you so much for joining us on WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM today. And we will keep in touch. Let's interview again when you have a new project.
Okay, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.